Welcome to day 543 of our Web3 journey. I'm Ed Krasenstein here with my twin brother Brian, and we have a very special guest for you today, probably the most special guest we've ever had on our show, Nader Al-Naji, the creator of the DeSo blockchain. How's it going, Nader?
It's great, man. It's great. Thanks for having me. I think this is my first time ever on your show. I watch it every day, and also my mom watches it every day and tells me about it and asks me about it. Yeah, so it's great. I'm a
Hello,
huge
Natter's
fan, and
mom.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Hey,
My mom
hey,
doesn't
Juju.
even watch your show.
Yeah. Do you want to say hey? If you say hey, Juju, she'll like freak out.
Hey,
Like that's her
Juju.
name. She's gonna freak out. Though she's gonna love it.
So today's huge, obviously, because the new hard fork took place early this morning, and with it comes MetaMask integration, bringing all those Ethereum users onto DeSo, onto the DeSo blockchain if they desire. You released a roadmap as well. Officially, the official roadmap was released, and I was just wondering, like, what are your favorite things on the roadmap? What do you think is the most important, and what are you the most excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. The MetaMask integration is actually tonight. It hasn't happened quite yet. That fork is a little delayed by a few hours, so I think like
Yeah,
midnight
so
tonight.
we're
Um,
recording a day before, so
oh,
by the time
got
you're
it. Yes, yes,
watching it,
yes.
it's gonna
Love it,
have
love it.
happened.
Awesome. So that's huge. And I think the reason why that's huge is MetaMask and these wallets are currently all about money. And for the first time, DeSo really makes it where they can become kind of an entry to to Web3 social platforms, right? Being able to message another MetaMask user, no matter what app they're on, is something that's enabled for the first time with this integration with DeSo. But also, once we get a little bit deeper and start really integrating into NFT platforms, I do expect that your MetaMask will be kind of a portal to make posts on NFTs that are the same no matter what NFT platform you're on. Again, DeSo is kind of this underlying layer, and essentially create this kind of seed of content and users that other developers can start building off of, and potentially maybe if enough developers start building off of that seed, especially given that they can make money with social for the first time. The hope would be that that actually is enough of a base to start having killer apps that compete with Web 2. So, I think for us at DeSo, I think we've kind of been seen as a single chain ecosystem. Oh, DeSo, that's a different chain than Ethereum and Solana than all these others. But I think with this MetaMask integration, we're really kind of marking a shift in narrative from DeSo being another chain to actually DeSo being seen as, really a social layer for Web3, a cross-chain social layer, which means that even if you are on Ethereum, all your money's on Ethereum, you actually probably will still use DeSo for social and storage heavy applications that you can't do on Ethereum, you can't do on Solana, where it costs, again, 15 cents to $1 to store 200 characters. You can't do on Polygon, you can't do on any of these others. So I think that MetaMask integration is exciting for that reason. And I mean, we haven't even touched on DeSoDollar, MegaSwap, DAO's upgrades with DeSoDollar, end-to-end encrypted group chats, our COO, just so many things. And these are all just the next few weeks. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're
so
really excited.
DeSoDollar is a stable coin. So with all that's happened with stable coins, you're still going forward and creating your own.
Absolutely. I mean, so I think that the important thing is the blowups that have happened with stable coins like Terra are because they're algorithmic stable coins, which a lot of people don't know this, but actually all of the algorithmic stablecoin category actually started with a paper that I wrote in 2017 called Basis, or Basecoin at the time. So actually Terra, Celo, Frax, all of these are just Ampleforth, are all descended from my paper on algorithmic stablecoin. Like, it created the category essentially, for better for worse, obviously. We actually raised $140 million to do Basis, but didn't launch it because, well, for many reasons, but the biggest one being that we were worried about this kind of blow up risk that could happen with launching it and paying rewards users and stuff. So the DeSoDollar actually comes from a pure need on DeSo, which is people want to do things on DeSo with dollars. So people want to be able to buy NFTs and price them in dollars and buy them with dollars. People want to be able to raise money on DAO with their treasury being dollars. That's actually one of the biggest things we think can be an unlock for DAO is we've talked to a lot of DAOs, both ones that haven't launched and ones that are established, and they say, wow, like if you can actually have our treasury be in dollars, we can do things like we can actually start putting in bids at auctions, for example, with Christie's and Sotheby's off of money we're raising on DAO, which we can't do today if it's in DeSo, both because it's volatile, but also because not everybody has access to Coinbase where DeSo is listed. So just a pure necessity on DeSo, having a basically zero low fee, we sometimes say gasless because it's so cheap, 1/10,000th of a cent to do a transaction. So like a gasless stablecoin on DeSo can really enable a lot of things. And so DeSoDollar is not algorithmic. It's actually just a simple one-to-one backed stablecoin.
Okay.
So we're backing it with USDC and US Treasuries. It's the only two assets that it'll be backed with. We'll probably start with pure USDC, but then if we get a lot of traction on it, we'll start putting some of that into treasuries so that we can be more efficient. But it's really just a very simple utility. It's kind of a bridge from USDC on ETH to DeSo, where you can do gasless transactions. But man, the stuff it enables is just, it's kind of endless when you really think about it.
Yeah, I think you're kind of like the father of the stable coin. So I think it's fitting that you're kind of pushing out a stable coin on DeSo. I
Yeah.
mean, how can you not trust it? You like created the stable coin.
Algorithmic stablecoin, but yes, 100%. I mean, it's very, very big moment, to kind of come back and, we raised $140 million for Basis and we couldn't launch. So have this coming out after being so deep on kind of the right way to do it is very exciting. So, yeah.
So getting back to MetaMask, are you guys directly working with MetaMask in any way, or is it kind of just like you did everything and, you're just using MetaMask to create that derived key on DeSo? Are they like doing anything? Are they like working with you in any way?
It's a great question. So I've actually spoken with MetaMask a few times, and they're very excited about it. Joe Lubin, the founder of MetaMask, is actually a Princeton alum, although I haven't actually met him. I met him at other events. I haven't met him recently. So they're excited about it. But one of the big reasons why they are excited about it is they really believe in what's called permissionless innovation, which means doing stuff that extends MetaMask without needing to ask them for permission. So the reason why they loved it so much is, we came to them and showed it to them and said, hey, do you guys think that this is kind of a secure thing, running it by them? But we didn't actually need anything from them in order to launch it. So they kind of came away and said, wait, you're doing all of that, and that's just with kind of our APIs, like what we have? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, we have never seen this before, but it's incredible. So we have a relationship with them. We are working with them. If there is something we need, they will help us. But yeah, it's been permissionless. Like we haven't needed their help thus far. So yeah.
So I mean, MetaMask on DeSo is amazing. The integration, I think, it's going to has so much potential to bring, like, what is it, 30 million monthly active users over to this blockchain. But what do you think the driving factors will be that's going to convince MetaMask users to come over to DeSo? I know in the past you've introduced a Google sign in with Google. There's millions and millions of Google users as well, but we didn't really get that many Google users coming over to DeSo. What's going to be different with MetaMask, you think?
Yeah, well, obviously the thing that we'd love kind of longer term is to be integrated directly into MetaMask as a messaging feature, right? And that is definitely something that's on the table, especially with our relationship with them. But I think the way we get there is actually very interesting. So I think where we start in terms of how the MetaMask integration brings users to DeSo is there's a few steps to kind of get to that ultimate of being the de facto messenger, right? So the first step is a lot of people come to DeSo today from Web3 and they say, oh, this isn't for me, because they have MetaMask. They don't want to log in with Google. They don't like the privacy implications of that. They don't want to enter their phone number. So there's the privacy implications of that. So integrating with MetaMask makes it so that with absolutely no personal information, you can start on DeSo, get an airdrop based on how much ETH you have in your MetaMask, not your phone number, which is how we do it today, and get started. So just being a completely private solution without requiring any money, I think already opens a big gate to the kind of existing millions of users on MetaMask. But we're not getting in front of people who aren't coming from a DeSo context yet. So to get to that next step where we actually directly tap into the existing millions of MetaMask users, the big thing we're going after is an integration with a major NFT platform. And really what they want, so we've spoken with Rarible Foundation and OpenSea. Rarible and Foundation, what they really want is an on-chain decentralized messaging solution, especially one that is MetaMask native. So the biggest and most exciting conversation I had is with Alex at Rarible, one of the co-founders. And when I told him that DeSo supports end-to-end encrypted DMs, he was like, shut up. Like, there's no way. Like, we literally tried to build a decentralized, like, they're like, we literally tried to build a decentralized messaging solution and we gave up. So they're really, really excited about being kind of a trailblazer in terms of having messages on their platform that are actually end-to-end encrypted and decentralized. And so nothing is solid, but it was kind of the type of conversation where it's like, wow, if you can actually make this kind of a one-click with MetaMask experience, like, we're in, right? So we do have to go back and have those kind of second, third, fourth conversations as we do. But I'm very confident that of the kind of non-OpenSea NFT platforms, at least one of them will see this as a very exciting opportunity. So what's cool is kind of from there, from integrating with an initial NFT platform, the conversations with all the others become easier, right? So let's say we get into Rarible, then okay, actually it's much easier for Foundation to do it. It's much easier for Super Rare to say yes because it's already exists over here. And there's kind of a network effect that starts to get built up, right? Because when you message someone on Rarible, if let's say Foundation or Super Rare implemented the DeSo MetaMask Messenger, right? Then they'll get it on those other platforms, even if you message them from Rarible, right? So there is this kind of network effect where if you have even a couple of platforms that have integrated this MetaMask login for messaging, there's a little bit of a snowball, and then eventually we'll get to OpenSea, who we had conversations with, but they're the most conservative, right? They're all about trust and safety. They want to be the last person to do it. But doing it this way, where we're starting kind of from all of the other platforms, we make it so that even if OpenSea is the last person to integrate on-chain messaging, it'll be DeSo that they select because it'll be the one that's already on all the other platforms, right?
That makes a lot of sense. I like that's exactly how I would go about it too, because the bigger players are going to want to see it working with some of these little or smaller marketplaces.
100%. Yep, absolutely. And then at the end we'd go to MetaMask and say, hey, everyone's kind of already using this. Do you want to just make it a first party thing, right? And yeah.
So going back on something you mentioned, you said that you're going to basically airdrop, I guess DeSo or Ethereum. I guess it's DeSo, right? You're going to airdrop DeSo to people that sign in with Ethereum for the first time. That was something that I had a big question about because there is a lot of friction during sign up. And if you're not native to crypto at all, or if you don't have DeSo or you don't have the ability to get DeSo pretty quickly, that's a major friction point. Do you plan on doing anything else to relieve friction at sign up so that there isn't this issue of, oh, you need some DeSo in order to interact with the blockchain, and it's a little bit tough to get DeSo within any quick, rapid time frame?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so today it's your phone number will get you enough free DeSo to post forever, basically, right? But the thing the MetaMask solution does is you don't even need to enter a phone number. So if you have like 0.001 ETH in your MetaMask account, you'll get enough free DeSo to post forever. I don't remember like the exact amount, but it's it's like a penny or something, right? And what's cool is that path with MetaMask is bot proof on the basis that it would cost you more in gas to put that amount of ETH in your wallet than what we're giving you, right? In DeSo. So it's kind of a beautiful, like kind of built-in anti-spam on giving people starter DeSo that makes it pretty much zero friction if you have MetaMask. And then if you don't have MetaMask, you would click login with Google, hopefully enter your phone number, and then still have a zero friction experience. But yeah, that's kind of, I think that's kind of the best you can do today in crypto.
So,
right?
so what if you already have a DeSo account, but you also have a MetaMask account? Is there going to be any way to link those accounts and start using MetaMask?
Yeah, it's a good question. So not right now, mainly because when you log in with MetaMask, your MetaMask key, like the key that's in your browser, is the public-private key that's going to be kind of rooted on DeSo. And it's going to be different than the key that you have for your current login. So we have something we call swap identity on the chain, which we are going to convert. Essentially allows you to transfer all of your profile into like a new key. So we need to make it so that an ordinary user can basically take their existing account and transfer it to a new public key. And that would be how, if you have an existing account and you want your MetaMask to be kind of the owner of it, you would use that function, which we already mostly have today. It's just not that, it's not the case that everybody can use it because it's like a little bit broken. But that would be kind of how you would port over your identity to MetaMask and do it that way.
So another question. So somebody comes in, they sign up with MetaMask, they get their airdrop DeSo, they can start posting, they can make it mint NFTs, they can do whatever they want that any DeSo user can do. Is the blockchain going to show that user's ETH address? So are other nodes going to have access to that user's Ethereum address?
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be indexed in the extra data when you create your account, and you'll be able to look up on DeSo, hey, what's the ETH address of this person? Or, hey, this is an ETH address, give me their DeSo account, one-to-one.
Is there going to be a
really
way for
developers.
Users to add an ETH address if they're, say they didn't sign up with MetaMask? Are they going to be like add their ETH address so others can see their ETH address as well?
It's a good question. I think not this week, but that's a great idea. I don't think it's something we expected. You would need to sign with that address, so there's a little bit of complexity around doing that. But it's actually something that any third party can do. It doesn't have to be the core team. Like ETH verify. Click this button, and now you have something in extra data that says this is your real ETH address potentially. So
yeah,
with a signature.
So Dylan Jagger-Lee, I think it was yesterday, he kind of teased that Phantom integration could be coming in a reply to Nigel's. And you made a blog post earlier yesterday, and you said that you're planning to add integration with other blockchains soon. Can we expect Phantom anytime soon? And how about other chains? Which other chains are you looking at?
Yeah, so Phantom is the big one. And the nice thing about the MetaMask integration is we've kind of done the hard work of getting DeSo to kind of interoperate with another wallet. Once you do that, it's actually very easy to add Phantom, Avalanche, near wallets. So Phantom is the next one we are looking at. We're just now starting that. I don't think it should take very long, but I think the main issue is DeSo is still a relatively small team. We're about 12 people. Obviously, we're hiring that COO that I've hinted at. But we have so many things we're shipping in kind of the next month that it'll probably be after the next month that we really start looking at it, and then maybe a few weeks from there to get Phantom in there. But then what's really cool is you can message someone from ETH platform, and they'll get it on a Solana platform. How cool is that, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a bridge between all the other cryptos out there and all the other blockchains out there. DeSo is kind of like the bridge that connects them all.
Yeah, and it's our new narrative, and we're going to keep saying this mantra, which is DeSo is the cross-chain social layer for all of Web3, right? And that when you think about it, and when you think about that example of I'm on an Ethereum application like SuperRare or OpenSea, and I message someone, and they get it even if they're on Magic Eden, which is a Solana NFT platform, that's the social layer, right? And there are strong network effects around that, arguably much stronger than DeFi, that DeSo is uniquely positioned to capture. We're really the only layer one that can do this right now. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, I really like that because there is that decentralized social identity.
and there's not really anything else out on the blockchain like that. So a decentralized social identity is like the perfect tool to tie various blockchains together. And by integrating all these other blockchains with DeSo and with the sign-in process, it's like the perfect solution to bring everything together. And that's what we're going to need. Ultimately, you're going to have multiple blockchains and you're going to need a way to link them all together like the internet does, kind of. So I love that idea. And if DeSo can actually be that glue or that whatever technology to bring it all together, that would be huge for the protocol for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm excited. You asking what I'm excited about. So yeah.
So moving on, the DeSo roadmap mentioned Creator Coins version 2. And I'm really intrigued about this because I'm all for the Creator Coin. I think it has a ton of potential. And you say that in Q1 of 2023, we will be getting more information on what the Creator Coin version 2 is. Can you tell us in any more detail what you have planned for this? Is it going to be something that you rely on third parties like Pearl to kind of reinvent the Creator Coin, or do you have something at protocol level that you're working on? And will there be a bonding curve? Is that going to be it's still in play? Is anything happening with that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we basically have gotten a lot of proposals from people over the kind of last since BitClout launched on how to make creator coins better, like some that can really scale up and not fizzle out. Not that they're. I mean, I see every day there's $100 here or there going into creator. Like I definitely think that, and I actually have always kind of held that under the right circumstances in the future, even the existing, kind of quote unquote flawed mechanic of creator coins can blow up in much the same way that NFTs kind of had their lull after CryptoKitties in 2017 and then kind of came roaring back. So there are a lot of ways to kind of like for creator coins to have a revival and win. But with all the proposals we've seen, we're pretty convinced that there are some things that would make them a lot better. The biggest thing is essentially flattening the curve, flattening the bonding curve, because right now it's a beautiful experience investing in a creator coin and that how easy it is. That's the beautiful part, but it's also very sharky, right? So the person who's first gets a lot more than the person who's second, depending on how much money goes in. And so just making that a flatter curve can really, really do a lot. There have been proposals that suggest even making it kind of like a two pool thing, like how Uniswap is. I don't think those. I think just making the curve flatter is a big step.
Like,
So
is
the way
I was just gonna say, is it possible to flatten the curve without like people feeling they were slighted because the curve is now not flat?
so so that's the second issue, right? So the first is making the economics more kind of more amenable, more mainstream, not as sharky, some would say. But the second is actually implementing it, right? So it's like taking the engine out of like a running car, they say in engineering, right? So I think what it would be is you have to, and we've looked at all kinds of proposals of people how to do the swap, uh, but it would maybe be essentially taking the money that's locked and now buying and selling is like a flatter kind of situation, right? And there are mathematically smooth ways to do that, but it's a matter of picking the right thing and the right way to do it. So the way that we plan on having this happen, and the reason why it's a little further out than everything else, is we would really love kind of a third party to be really all in on kind of building the application layer around it. And then we'll support whatever needs to happen on the layer one level so that they can do that. Whether it's changing the math, having a transaction that ports you from V1 to V2 very easily, even if they want to do a kind of vote from the holders to port it over, right? That would even be something we would implement at the layer one for that team. There are a couple of teams we're talking to that are interested in that and are excited about it with good funding. And I think that, we've got a lot to launch in the next kind of month, but we're looking at it really seriously. And, I think working with one of those teams, if they can handle the app layer, we'll do whatever we can do on the layer one to make it a beautiful kind of smooth experience. So yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to be excited about that.
I'm excited about it.
That was like one of
I'm
the
a
huge
huge
things
holder.
with BitClout. Like everybody loved BitClout because they created coins and then they kind of fizzled out. But I think it could have been kept going, but like it just wasn't ready yet. You know, like you guys weren't ready yet to keep it going. So I think if there could be a like a energization of creator coins, I think it would be amazing, and I think the community would love that.
I
So
mean,
moving
I
on.
joke. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, well,
No, go
I'll
ahead.
say I joke that I'm the biggest holder and the biggest loser on creator coin because I've never sold any. You know, I literally have only bought, and you know, I've ridden it down with everybody else. But the reason why I haven't sold is I do think we can have a renaissance, like you said, just even announcing, you know, kind of, hey, like something new is happening with creator coins could revive it and bring back the kind of reflexivity. So, yeah, we're definitely excited about it. But yeah.
So moving on, the roadmap mentioned something mysterious, DeSo Glass, and I don't know if you can tell us any more about this. There's been people in the community guessing what it could be, and also DeSo Vaults is something I think is interesting. Do you want to touch on both of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't say anything about DeSo Glass yet, other than you know, we're looking at it
Okay, so
with
wait,
you know.
can you say if it's just tell me if it's closer to being a DeSo version of a VR headset or closer to being a looking glass to look into the blockchain? Because those are the two guesses that people had.
Yeah, I will say it's something physical. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's all I can say. Yeah. Uh, um, but on DeSo Vaults, which is you know, I very concrete. You know, I mean, I think we literally put a design document in the roadmap. You know, something a lot of people have come to us with is you know, DeSo is really good at storing and indexing you know, posts right now, right? So you put a 200 character post on the DeSo blockchain, it's 1,000th, 1/10,000th of a cent, and it indexes it so that you can do queries like, give me all the posts of people I follow, give me all the posts of give me my posts, for example, and you know, that's already, I think it's important to emphasize, no other blockchain today can do that, right? That storage and indexing of social content. Certainly, and to do it cheaply, right? At 1,000, 1/10,000th of a cent, it just doesn't exist, right? To store that 200 characters on Solana without even indexing it is 15 cents to a dollar, depending on the gas that day. So that already is a great feat, but people want more. You know, they don't want to just store, you know, 200 characters. You know, they want to store their actual images on chain, you know, and not just kind of a link to an image. You know, they want to store an actual video on chain. And as we started looking at this and saying, you know, we can 100% do this. You know, we can basically have a segregated kind of blob storage. We call it blob storage mechanism that doesn't get in the way of the speed and the cheapness of the rest of the blockchain. You know, that's huge. You know, that'll be a point where truly everything you are putting on chain, including the actual media, is censorship resistant and actually distributed to everybody that is your follower. But as we were looking at that, something that we kind of realized is like, you know, you can actually extend this to web hosting, right? So today, if you want to host a website, you go to a centralized provider like Amazon S3 or you know, Google Cloud Storage or whatever. But you know, with DeSo, when you have blob storage, you can actually just have hosting natively on the DeSo blockchain. So basically, if you use that blob storage mechanism to store an index.html, then every DeSo node recognizes that and loads it for you, right? So instead of having to go and figure out how do I host something on you know, AWS and have it be centralized, it can actually be decentralized, and anybody can access your website on any node, right? That is on the DeSo blockchain without any work. You just put your index.html in that blob storage, which you can just upload it there, and it'll just work. Of course, you can do encrypted blob storage, and of course, there's a lot of things you have to make sure around the safety of storing content. So nodes need to be able to say, I don't want to serve this user's content on a node by node basis. But yeah, otherwise, you know, I think it's a big breakthrough for Web3 to have truly censorship resistant blob storage. And I think, just a real world use case, I think Tornado Cash is obviously a very controversial thing. It's kind of, on the borderline like enabling money laundering, all of that. But I think a lot of people agree, like GitHub should not take down the code for Tornado Cash. Like, I don't think that's really a reasonable thing. And so what DeSo blob storage enables is really things that everybody we know are speech and are harmless and are things that are important for the world to have, can be stored on chain in a censorship resistant way that, again, each node can have its own censorship restrictions, but it's not just GitHub that gets to decide, our lawyers said we're gonna just be really conservative here, right?
Yeah, it's definitely an
That's
interesting concept, and I think it kind of has some overlap with Arweave. Like for those who use Arweave, it's kind of the same concept, but I guess for more than just images and more, you can have an actual website that's shown on the blockchain.
And I think there's nothing wrong with putting images on Arweave and having links to Arweave on DeSo today, which you can do today. I think even in apps like Diamond, there's like a thing for an Arweave link. But what we see whenever you have to mix two chains together is the user experience degrades a lot. So if you want to do that, right, you have to go buy Arweave coins, you have to upload them, upload your thing on a different place than the existing app. It's hard for the developer to integrate the two. And that's really DeSo's advantage, right? It's the storage combined with the identity and money stuff that you want to do in crypto. So I think integrating them together so you don't have to go out to Arweave is really going to just take the user experience to the next level. And there's nothing like the web hosting aspect, right? That nothing like that exists. That's just on every node, you can have your website accessible and hosted. So taking it to the next level there as well.
And you could always buy a URL and just direct that to a node. And if that node takes your website down, you could just redirect it to another one.
The first thing I'm going to do is I have a blog that's nadertheory.com, and I'm going to redirect it to DeSo, to a DeSo node, like immediately. Because I wanted this solution when I was working at Google and many years ago, and I started my blog. I didn't want to put it on Medium because they own your distribution. And then lo and behold, they started paywalling everybody, right? Paywalling my content so I spun up a self-hosted website. I have a really shitty script that uploads it to S3 once we have DeSo vaults and what we call the decentralized web, it'll be much easier and more censorship resistant, which is great. Truly yours, right? So
yeah, awesome. So obviously you have a lot on your plate. You're doing a lot of really cool things, and obviously to do that, you need a really good form of management, somebody to like head everything up. And you've been talking a lot about hiring a COO, a chief operating officer. How is that going? I know we've heard about it for several months now. And like, what type of person are you looking for? Are you trying to find somebody with name recognition, or are you trying to find somebody with background in social media? Like, what exactly are you looking for?
Yeah. So we had a job description, I think, on jobs.lever.co/DeSo. But what I will say here, and I don't know if I've posted this on chain yet. Maybe we're about to post it. I don't know. But we actually closed our search last week, and the person signed and gave notice.
Nice.
And I can't. They're starting in October. I don't want to reveal anything until they join, because we're going to make a big announcement out of it. But what I will say is, a lot of people, I think, will be very surprised that someone of that caliber with their background is joining something that's at our stage, so different than, like anything on the, it's Web3, right? That person is going into a Web3 startup, basically. So we are ready to rock and roll. So I think in October, assuming everything goes according to plan, we'll have a big announcement around exactly who that person is. But they really are, I think, the most important hire that we've made. Maybe one of the most important decisions I've had to make is bringing someone in to manage the operational side. And the reason why I'm really excited is they're going to take over the BD, business development and marketing stuff that we just haven't been doing, right? I've kind of always said we're going to hire someone to do this, we're going to hire someone to do this. Well, we finally did it. Yeah, and they'll probably hire a couple more people to really have a real operation there. And yeah, I'm just really excited for a full-time group of people with a lot of experience, to be honest, to take it to the next level. Because I often say there's really nothing, the only thing that's separating DeSo in terms of market cap from something like Flow or Polygon or any of these others, I think, is just more people knowing about us. I think we have a more mainstream narrative than they do. We have more defensibility. We have so many things that no other layer one can do. It's not like we're fighting to the death in competition. No one can do what we do with the storage and how cheap it is, the onboarding, everything like that. And so I think once we do a little bit of better business development marketing, there's really no reason why the market shouldn't reevaluate us from 70 million market cap today to the 7 billion of the Polygons and the Flows, which, by the way, is 100x, right? Just to get to the market understanding what we are, not even doing anything fundamental. So I'm excited for that. And yeah.
Is this going to be somebody that people have heard of before, or just somebody that we've known, like you can examine their reputation, see that they've had something, that they've worked on something huge before?
It's the latter. It's someone who's known outside of crypto because
it's
they
not
are
Tim
really
Cook,
legit.
right?
No. It's not that. No. We're not there yet. In the bull market, we'll. But it's someone who you look at their background and you're like, wow, holy shit,
Awesome.
So yeah.
So like, are you going to be looking to hire a lot of people once you have the COO on board, or are you going to kind of keep the team small still?
I wouldn't say a lot. So our philosophy is until we really have kind of something that's working and growing, let's call it like BitClout, but retentive, right? So it's growing a lot, but it's retentive. It's not something that's kind of, people come, they try it for a month, they leave. Obviously, not everybody leaves because we have a diehard community that includes me and includes our team that just checks Diamond and other apps every day, the social world. So, but until we have something that's really growing, we think keeping the team small is good, keeps us hungry, and it keeps us from doing too many things. Because I think doing the right things is much more important than doing too many things. That said, we're going to probably hire 2 or 3 people, and I think those will be very valuable. So,
I just want to jump to a question, and it's kind of away from everything, the roadmap and all that. But if you had to point out like your biggest flaw or what your biggest mistake in these 550 days or so, like what would you say it was?
Biggest mistake. Interesting. Biggest mistake. I think we probably should have started the COO search a lot sooner. There's really no reason why we couldn't have had this person like 6 months into DeSo. I always felt like, we need to list it on Coinbase to get kind of the caliber of person that we want to get. But when I started talking to people, through Diversa, which is the search firm that we used, I mean, every single person, like regardless of how legit they were, got really excited at the prospect of working together to grow DeSo. And I think part of it is the mission. I guess I was surprised at how even people with really, really, really established track records care about this mission. But also, I think maybe people don't like their jobs as much, like at big companies. I don't know, So I think if we had started that search sooner, we'd have, same caliber of person, but over the whole last year, right? Which would have been great. Doing a lot of partnership stuff that we could have been doing. So I think, just looking back, that is something. I think other than that, yeah, it's a good question. It's really hard to say. I don't know. What do you guys think we could have done better? Obviously doing more marketing and BD is important, but it's just, should we have done that instead of all the kind of fundamental work we're doing? Because it's when you're so small, it's a trade-off, right? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have said marketing, or I would have said hire a COO earlier.
Yeah.
Obviously, community outreach, like which you definitely improved on over
Oh,
the
yeah,
last
yeah.
few weeks and months.
Yeah, definitely. I think being more communicative with the community, honestly putting out something like this roadmap much more frequently, much earlier, much more often, would have been really good. Um, I think another thing that is interesting to consider is launching BitClout non-pseudonymously. I know that it's kind of you can't rerun the experiment, and maybe it would have ruined all of the mystique around it. But I actually think we could have prevented a kind of BitCloud is a scam narrative, which might have preserved the reflexivity around creator coins long enough that they would kind of make it to the finish line of being a respected asset class like NFTs are today. But I think we'll get a second bite at that apple for sure. I don't think it's a lot of people say, oh, in crypto, or not even crypto, oh, like, once you've launched something, it's over. And that's not really true. Things launch and they iterate for a really long time, then they become popular. Like that happens all the time. So I think it's definitely not one of these like, oh, we screwed up our only chance. I think it's just, but our first chance could have been maybe better if I was not pseudonymous and could actually say the narrative. But
I
it's
kind of
hard to
feel like
say.
maybe if BitCloud didn't go so viral and you had more time to build and allow apps to be built before it went viral, and then
Yeah,
like unleash it and let it go viral when once Diamond and Pearl and all these other things are released. But then again, those developers might not have developed if it didn't have that viral effect at first. So,
it,
hindsight's always 2020. You never really know if you took a different path what would have happened. So, I
it's
think
really hard to say. Yeah.
I think one final question we have is about marketing. We expect some marketing. How big is that marketing going to be? And like, can you tell us any of your plans or any of the avenues you're going to be taking to do this marketing?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, so maybe I'll tell you what I have planned for the COO once they join. So something that's important to understand is we have spent a little bit here or there on ads. We don't like ads. We don't think they're very effective. We don't think they're that good of a use of money. We much prefer conversations with important people, or evergreen kind of podcasts that go to the right audience, like that stuff that's generally free, but we think is much more like in depth and deeper than seeing a stupid ad that's like, go join this thing and whatever. Not that we won't do it, but I don't think that's where we're going to get I don't think that's where we're going to get started. So what I have planned for the COO is, first of all, there are a lot of really big holders, high net worth institutions and individuals that own some DeSo, love DeSo, love me, would love to talk to me all the time about it and get on a conversation, but I just can't do it. Any day I have a meeting is a day where I can't do anything else. It's just not, it's how my brain works. It's very disruptive. So the first thing I'm gonna do with our COO is I'm going to teach him how to pitch, which he already knows how to do because he pitched himself to join.
So it's a he.
And
We know it's a he.
oh God, darn it. Yeah, you got me. It's a he. Uh, so I'm gonna teach him how to pitch. And I'm going to connect him with all of our big holders and say, hey, go back to these big holders, tell them everything that's going on, talk to them one-on-one, tell them about the opportunity to double down. All of them have small little checks, and try and close some re-ups, like reinvestments, like why shouldn't they do more, right? I haven't had the time to really go to them and say, hey guys, did you know that you can invest more, at the same price that Sequoia got before BitClout launched, before any traction, when the team was 2 people, 3 people. So like, I think that he'll be successful to some extent with re-engaging everybody, but most importantly, he'll have all those contacts. So he'll have them on DM. He'll be the one, when they ask him a question, he'll get back to them immediately instead of me, where my email falls behind, all that kind of stuff. And just keep all of those relationships warm. And you would be shocked at how much impact just keeping the 100 or so big holders, in sync with the community. We're not talking about giving them information the community doesn't have. We're just talking about just what I share on Diamond, having that like shared to them in a way where they actually internalize it, I think that'll have a very big impact. The kind of next step from that is engaging them for things that are not investments. So to say, hey, we need to, like we need this thing. We want to meet these partners, blah, 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 blah. We should meet other investors. We want to meet other investors who might be interested in DeSo and pitch them, right? So I think we will get more from, kind of 24 conversations a week with this person on board than we would from, investing millions of dollars in ads that people ignore, anyway. And then, there's all these events I get invited to that I don't go to because, I'm, again, it's flying there, flying back. It's taking away from doing the stuff that is, that differentiates DeSo in a fundamental way from the other chains. But yeah, just someone who goes to every single event, does the talks that they get invited to, explains it to the audiences of individuals. And yeah, and we haven't even talked about really doing partnerships, with big names, with like, the sports teams and the video games and like, all that kind of stuff that, again, just with 24 conversations a week, you'll do a huge amount of that, right? So anyway, that's the kind of first 2 months for the person after they join in October. So,
yeah, so before we let you go, is there anything you want to touch on that we didn't touch on, or anything you want to tell the community just that we might have missed?
I don't think so. I think maybe something I'll say, I never talk about price, about like, because I don't think it really matters. Like, I think that the difference between where we are now and the market just knowing about what we're doing is, like that's gonna, it's like, it's zero versus non-zero to me. It's a big jump. That said, maybe I'll just say, like, I'm honestly surprised at how low the price is given everything that's going on. And it is so ridiculous that I'll just comment on it, like just put in perspective, right? We have, like 2,500 Bitcoin and about like, 30 million in dollar treasury, right? $80 million. Like, yes, we held Bitcoin and it went down. So that's why our treasury is less than 200 million, but we burn 5.5 million a year, and our market cap is 70 million. So if our market cap is 70 million and our treasury is 80 million and we burn 5.5 million a year, you could burn money. We could run for 2 years and still have more in treasury than the current market cap of DeSo. It's shaken my belief in the efficient market hypothesis. Like, it makes no sense. I think maybe if it's an unknown founder, you don't trust them, but literally everybody knows me as the guy who is a good steward of capital, protects the community and the partners that he works with, gave back all the money when things weren't working, so it doesn't make sense to me. But I would also say it doesn't matter, because once we just get the message out, everyone's going to understand. Hang in there. I know it hurts to have this thing we all believe in, not like apparently not taken seriously by the market, but it is going to change. We are never going to stop. I am never going to stop working on this project. If it takes 10 years, so be it. I hope it doesn't take that long, but
well, you have enough money for 15, it looks like. So
yeah, so we're good, and we can raise more money too. Like, it's not like, and I think just talking to our investors about it it's gonna help a lot. So anyway, I just think commenting on that, kind of say, hey, yeah, I'm confused too. I don't get it either. So yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely see your point, and I think it just takes time for things like this, and ultimately the market will catch up, I think, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But you never know.
We'll be here. I think I'll be here. So until it happens. So.
All right. Well, thanks again, Nader.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate having you on the show. Maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Love it. Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the next quarter has, and the quarter after that, and the quarter after that has in store for us.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you again for being a part of this. Like I said, I watch you guys every day. Everybody should watch you guys every day. And yeah, thank you guys. Thank the community for still being here in spite of all the setbacks and everything. It means, like, maybe I'll just mention, I've been working on this, since early 2019, and it really does mean a lot. All the people who have been here, from the early days, who are still here, it means a lot to me personally, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you guys, thank the community, and until next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.